Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Knight of the Podcast.
It's a guest. It's a guest. Sakes alive. Well, I'll be blessed. Guys, gays, girls, ghouls, everything in between. Welcome to another episode of Dark Knight of the Podcast. Welcome. It's going to be a fun one because, guys, this episode we are blessed. We're very lucky to have a guest, a talented guest. A guest whose career is blossoming before my very eyes. And I'm very lucky to say this is a friend of mine. And I'm super excited to have this actor, a queer actor, an openly gay actor on our show, and one with some really awesome credits coming up. Guys, our guest today is the one and only Chris Wolfe.
Hello. You are too kind, Roger. What an intro.
Oh my God. I specialize in intros. Ask Troy. Right, Troy?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We have some of the best intros out there.
Musical numbers, big ones. But a special one for you, Chris, because I'm so excited. We've been talking about having you on for a while, and that only fueled my fire more knowing that you have this title out right now in circulation that's getting a lot of love and attention, especially for you. It's a horror title, and I recently watched it. The movie's called Hideout. It's available to stream all over the place, including on Amazon. And I was extremely impressed. And not just because you're my friend. I was just straight up impressed with the quality of the story being told and the craftsmanship that was
awesome
on display executing it. I mean, like, all around, man, I am impressed. So congrats to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roger. I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And go ahead and give us a little run through, if you don't mind, like, for listeners, people who may not be familiar with it. I just wanted to verify that I'm saying the name right because I keep fucking up. Chris Roselli, right?
Yep, Chris Roselli.
Roselli, writer and director. I definitely want to see more of his work after this because this film is super cerebral, and it just hit all the right notes for me. But yeah, give us a quick plot rundown just for listeners so they are aware of what the story is being told.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hideout is a paranormal thriller horror feature, and it is about four criminals who do a little kind of like heist, and they get in a little bit of trouble, so they hide out at a random house nearby. And things kind of go south from there. You're not really sure at that point from which who's the bad guy and who's not.
Yeah, and it definitely. I mean, I like a movie that plays tricks with me as the viewer.
For sure.
I don't like to be able to predict things, and this movie takes some fucking sharp ass turns that really threw me. I was a big fan. There's some. I don't want to give too much away, but there's a few sequences in this film, and I mean, this is a relatively small production. You could tell, like, this is an indie film at its heart.
For sure.
But there are a few areas here that really like the CGI, the practical effect. I mean, there are some practical effects in this that just...
So, yeah, let me tell you. So the CGI looks phenomenal. They got the CGI done by someone who worked on Game of Thrones. So that was, like, inevitable. Like, okay, that was going to look sweet. And it does look really, really nice. The guy who does the practical effects, wonderful, wonderful dude. I really, really enjoyed him as a person. His name was Rich Hill. He taught himself how to do practical effects off of YouTube and has only been doing it for, I don't know exactly how long, but not a super long time. And I was so wildly impressed with his skill set, even at this point in his career. It was awesome.
Man, let me tell you, there is one specific effect towards the finale that is very much, I will say, the focal effect. I feel like if you like read reviews about this, I bet you anything that this is being brought up because it's just done so well. There is an effect on display very much like out in the open for a good chunk of the finale on one of the characters, something that happens to them that is so well done and expertly crafted. Like it enhanced the whole finale for me just because it was on display and so like visible
For sure.
and just so well done. You know, it was just really well done. So kudos to the team behind that all across the board. I'm so happy you're involved with it, and you've been getting a lot of really positive reception for this project for your role in it.
Yeah, I have. It's been nice.
That has to be very awesome.
Yeah, it is really, really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you recently, I know you've taken home a couple of awards for this, but it's definitely deserved. I just want to acknowledge that again, not just because you're my friend. Like I love seeing good talent on display. So good for you, man. I'm really proud of you. And
thank you so much.
I know you have a few things coming up here in the near future. Like so quickly, you have like all right. You're like Hideout's done, and on to the next. And again, this looks phenomenal. What's this new project? Tell me a little bit.
Everyone thinks I'm like actually doing big things, just because right after quarantine let up, I filmed like 3 movies right back to back. So now they're all coming out at the same time.
Yeah, that and I mean, you always look like you're doing big things because your hair is so good. No matter what, it elevates every photo. You got the best hair. But go on, tell us about this new project.
So the next one I have coming out, it's called Airborne, and it's about to premiere on February 2nd in select AMCs all over the East. So I'm really excited for that one, and then after that, I have another one coming out called The Sim Racer. I don't know how they're doing The Sim Racer as far as distribution or premiere or anything like that, but that will be to be seen, I suppose.
She famous, Troy.
She likes to pretend.
Too big for her britches, right? No, I'm so like I can't imagine it happening to a better person, and I love that's happening. Like not to be cliche, but the three of us, this applies. I love that's happening to a queer talent that I know. I mean, like it's not often that I get to see one of my friends who is a person on this LGBTQ plus spectrum, wherever they may fall, that gets a series of successful releases. So I mean, I just hope it fucking keeps up. You deserve it. You're awesome. So and you're super talented. Definitely.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Definitely. And I have to say, I feel like this week we selected. I didn't even know this going into this. I hadn't watched Hideout yet. I saved it for coming up to actually the review because I wanted it to be fresh. I wanted to talk about it a bit. The title of The Ritual we agreed on a while ago, and like I thought it was going to be a perfect title because it's a drama with some really strong male acting. So I thought like it would give you something to talk about, Chris, like to like kind of bite your teeth and do something meaty. But then like upon watching Hideout and some of these like cerebral, surreal moments that take place in the movie, even though they're 2 completely different stories, it occasionally hits some of these tones that I was like, wow, these 2 like complement each other really well for a review today. So I think this is a really good title to talk about. What was your takeaway after watching The Ritual? How did you feel?
I really liked The Ritual. I told you previously, when we talked about doing this a few months ago, I am not someone who is super well versed in horror. However, since doing Hideout, I have been just watching horror like nonstop. Just like trying to get myself into it and really try and like sink my teeth into it. I was never a big fan because I am the jumpiest person in the whole world. Like,
and that enhances our experiences. I have to say, right, Troy? Having a friend who like I don't respond to horror anymore, so to have a gay friend that jumps. So I love that you still respond to the material. Like we need you.
God, someone sneezes too hard, like 10 feet away from me, and I'm jumping. Like it's ridiculous. But anyways, after watching The Ritual, it was one of the first ones that I really started with when I started watching horror, and I really, really liked it. Anything folk horror, anything you put a pair of antlers in there and some spells, some witchy stuff, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Oh my God. Put it on me. Like, not only that, I want those fucking antlers. My God, they're so powerful and grand.
Hell yeah.
And Troy, I didn't even know this. You brought this to my attention. I think I'd heard before that it was a novel, but you mentioned, have you read the novel?
I read the novel when it first came out. I read the novel before it was ever even going to be a film. Yeah, and it's actually... as we talk about the plot and whatnot, I'll kind of, I don't really want to compare the two, I don't want to turn it into that, but there are a lot of things that I wish that the film would have taken from the novel that I think would have made the film a little bit more cohesive. But I know when you're adapting a novel into film, it's hard to include everything. But I'm just going to tell you, if you have not read the novel, guys, and you love the movie, you must read the novel.
Cool. Good to know.
I have not read the novel, so I am
it fills in so much. Any questions that you might have about things that happen in the film, the novel definitely answers them.
Awesome. Sign me the fuck up. I love a good horror novel in general, but I love this movie. So,
and the writer Adam Neville, he's kind of started to make a pretty prominent name for himself in the horror field.
That's what it seemed like when I was researching it. Yeah.
No One Gets Out Alive, The Ritual. He just had another one come out. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, he's really starting to make a name for himself.
I just got to say that I feel like I put together the perfect title for today. Between Chris, your talents, and Troy, your knowledge that I don't have to bring to the table about, like, you know so much more about this movie that I had no idea. Like, you're going to be filling in a lot of little gaps and questions I may have then, Troy, which is really cool because if you have a good knowledge of the book, I have questions. I do. I love the movie, but I have questions. So this is perfect. But yeah, so before we like dive into this and really dissect it, Chris, I really want to give you a platform, and I'm going to give you a platform again at the end of this. But I just want you to state now, like, is there anything right now that you have Hideout specifically available on that you want to pump up or promote before we move into the actual breakdown review? Anything that you want to kind of throw out there for the fans that are listening to really know about you, seek you out, look you out on social media? Can we get a moment of that right now real quick?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We already talked about Hideout, Airborne, Sim Racer. Those are all three that are coming out. Also, as far as social media goes, I'm C Wolfe, WOLFE, my last name, C Wolfman4. That's my Instagram. Other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, and we'll give you a platform again at the end of this, but listeners, just make sure you give Chris a follow. He's doing some big fucking things right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were, and I've been meaning to mention this because Hideout, actually, you have Brian Enright is in Hideout with you, correct? Yeah, okay. Me and him have been social media friends for quite some time, and he used to do, I think he may still do it, but he used to, with a group of friends, used to do a podcast that I was on a couple times. So yeah, I have some connections to Brian. Yeah. So it's awesome.
Oh, cool. Nice. Brian's a great dude. He is super, super sweet.
Yeah, Brian like takes this role and fucking runs with it too. Yeah, so super talented, and we're actually I spoke to him about having him on the show down the line in a few episodes too. So maybe we'll be having that very knowledgeable guest come on and join us. I'm excited.
He is. I mean, talk about knowledgeable. He knows freaking everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. We appreciate that for sure. But yeah, so The Ritual. This film, I became aware of it when it dropped on Netflix, like most. And going into it being a Netflix film, I wasn't expecting a ton of it. So when I walked away from this film feeling the way I felt, I was extremely pleasantly surprised. I went back and I rewatched it multiple times, but I think we've got a movie here that one of the reasons it succeeds is it tells a very like personal, simple story of like loss and overcoming grief. And I think one of the reasons this excels as a piece of cinema is because it's pretty intimate between a small group of actors. It's 4 focal friends that we're following on this trip. And even though these personalities, like, they're not like largely defined, these guys are like average everyday guys.
Yeah.
It makes it extremely realistic to me. The whole setup, everything about these characters is very believable to me. And on top of that, performed very well. And I think it's going to be a fun title to talk about, is just because of the simplicity of this really kind of like sad, sensitive human story. The film is very similar, in my opinion, to another title, and I know we're going to get into this, but I want to throw it out right now. It's very, very similar to the 2000s flick, The Descent, that I know a lot of our listeners are familiar with. Chris, have you seen that one before?
I have. It's been a few years, but I have actually seen that one, surprisingly enough.
Some very similar themes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thematically, yes, you are correct. They're very similar. I think the film, to me, has a little bit more in common with maybe like the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I saw that in a lot of reviews bringing that up.
Or the original, there's a film called Rituals from the late 70s with Hal Holbrook that this definitely has a lot in common with. And I'm wondering if that connection in terms of the title and everything was purposely done. Have you seen Rituals, Roger?
No, I'm not.
No, okay. No. It's on. They just put it on Shudder. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I think you're going to be very surprised at the similarities. It's four friends that go into the woods for a hunting trip, and are pretty much stalked by an unseen entity that you don't find out about until the end. So definitely check it out. I think the similarities there are pretty strong as well.
Nice. Chris, do you have Shudder?
I do.
As someone
I do indeed.
You do? Oh, I'm so proud.
I do.
Excellent.
I got
the first step.
Yeah, I've had it for like 2 months, and I've probably watched like 50 plus movies.
Atta girl. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
I'm trying.
But yeah, similar to The Descent in style and structure and themes, I would say. Like, both open with a life-shattering loss that massively impacts the focal character, and that's something that character carries with them throughout the entirety of the film. The dialogue is extremely natural, and it's very realistic between this group of men. And while most everyone within that group is like very mild mannered and understated, they each still have these like defined personalities that come forward and skill sets. And I'm like, I just love how these characters are played. I feel like these are anybody's that you could meet anywhere, and it's done really well.
Yeah, it is super natural. The dialogue and the banter and just the general dynamic between the four of them, it feels really fleshed out and supernatural.
Troy, are the characters in this, like, is it four friends? Is it that dead on to the book?
Oh yeah. I mean, the basic story is exactly the same. It's just there's a lot more. My problem with the film, and I'll just mention it right off the bat, is I feel like there are a couple of I would say, well, maybe one of the friends in the film, the Phil character, really in the film gets shortchanged. I don't feel like the Phil character in the film has a lot to do.
No,
he's kind of forgotten a lot of times. It's kind of in the background. So the dynamic between the four of them, for me, at times doesn't really feel authentic because there's not a lot of focus on Phil or even Dom in a certain aspect. It seems to me like the focus is Luke and Hutch through most of the film until obviously what happens to Hutch happens.
Right.
I felt like the book did a little bit better of a job of giving all of the characters kind of their moment and a story. So that you felt a little bit more connected to them, because a lot of times I was getting like Phil and Hutch in the film confused.
Same. They look similar. They have like a similar kind of.
And like I said, Phil really doesn't have much to do in this except the one scene where he gets naked in front of the thing.
Right. That's about it.
Yeah. But we can get into it. If you want to go, we can start and just kind of move our way through the film and do our thing, Roger.
All right. Our thing. Let's dive on in. You ready, Chris, to jump into the deep end?
Oh, I'm ready.
Dark night of the podcast. Let's go. After a night of drinking, this group of friends that we have established, which is a group of 5 friends at the time, they're discussing taking a trip to what is called the King's Trail, which is a part of the Appalachian Trail in Sweden. And the member of this group that's kind of spearheading it is Rob. He seems to be kind of the outgoing, lively personality of the group. He's definitely played to be like super likable right off the bat. And so he's like kind of pushing for this idea, and everyone else is very reluctant. And so as they're kind of walking through the town, it leads up to this moment where the character Luke, who is already buzzed up, or it's pretty clear, wants to go get a bottle of alcohol. And so Rob is the only one that agrees to go with him. And they share this moment where they go into this convenience store together alone. And they're kind of rambling to each other. And in the middle of this brief conversation where they're kind of sharing a little moment, they hear some commotion. They turn and in this very effective shot, they just turn and they notice that the employee is beaten up beside the counter, just laying there. And it leads to what is the reveal of the store being held up, and these 2 punks look over and notice Rob, but the character of Luke has kind of managed to hide back behind the cabinet or behind the row of drinks. He's hidden himself next to the cooler, and so he manages to hide himself as these guys confront Rob and take his watch, take his wallet, try to take his ring. He refuses. And they beat him with a bat. They beat him with a bat, right?
I think
or pipe. Yeah,
it's a pipe.
Yeah, it's like a metal pipe.
I think
yeah,
it's a pipe.
So and there's this really effective shot where you see like the wound opening up on his head, and he is killed. And this is how we open the film. This is the introduction that we get to this movie. This really traumatic moment.
Yeah, I do like that, you with the friends right away, it is established that they have been friends for quite a long time because before they go to the liquor store, they're in a pub drinking. And what are they're discussing where they're going to take their annual trip. It seems like they have this tradition where every year they take a trip together. So different suggestions are thrown out, Amsterdam, and it's really, like you said, it's Robert's his big push is to go hiking in the Swedish, through the Swedish countryside. But it is established right away that these guys have a connection. They've been friends for a long time. They have this tradition that they're super excited about. So then when what happens, and it's pretty brutal, I think. It is a little jarring. But yeah, definitely a very effective way to open the film. It hooks you right away.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean it's perfectly timed. It's brief. They kind of thrust you into the movie right off the bat, right after that. But this opening sequence it's well played.
Yeah, that's another thing I really like is right after this opening sequence, it actually cuts to Luke waking up.
Oh, I loved that. Yeah,
from a dream, and you find out they're already doing the hike. They're already in tents. They're already in the Swedish countryside. So it jumps ahead 6 months. So we don't see any sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Consequences or
right. Any of the back stuff there.
Any of the the stuff that happens from Rob's death. We don't get to see any of that. It just cuts to they're on this trip. They're there in full force, and they are doing it basically to honor Rob.
Yeah, they did a really good job of handling us, or of handing us, pardon me, a really like tightly packed introduction to what is this big event, and establishes like exactly where these characters are at today. Their dynamic has definitely changed after the loss. We explore that a bit, but it's honestly like it's already a sad setup going into what's about to happen. It's already like.
But that was kind of the cool part about it, was just that it went immediately from this like traumatic moment straight into grief and catharsis. And so it like throws you into this like weird whirlwind where you're just like, all right, so let me get my bearings the same way that these characters are like trying to seek this catharsis and go through this grief at the same time.
Oh, that was so nicely worded. Oh, Troy, we got a real one on this week. Oh goodness! Well, I'm gonna have to up my vocabulary. No, but catharsis is a great term for this film because the journey for this one character that we're going to go into in a moment, there is a huge element of catharsis with him,
for sure,
letting go of some of these burdens he carries with him, internalized burdens. And I think so. I like the term character study. I like when a movie gives us a nice character study. This movie, I would say, the character of Luke is a character that very much appeals to me as an actor. Let me tell you, let me play a Luke someday, because this character is going through things. Is the character written similarly in the book as well, Troy?
Oh yeah. And I'm trying to remember. I think the book does the exact same thing, where it cuts from the prologue to right away they're in the woods. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, the film follows the book pretty damn close. There's there's some stuff that's not included that I wish they would have. But yeah, I do. We do find out that they are on this hike for Rob's memory, because right after everyone wakes up, they chat a little bit, and then they all hike to the top of this hill to lay out a memorial for Robert. They have his picture. They have, some stuff. They each say a little word. They take a drink of whiskey. Dom, this character of Dom, right away, you do get the sense right away that he is definitely the antagonist to Luke, because he makes all these little jabs throughout the movie that become obviously more and more pointed. But as they're doing this, they're honoring Robert with this little thing they made, Dom has to say in the middle of it, well, that should have never happened, and he kind of looks at Luke.
Right, and then it has the shot straight to
Yeah.
Luke, and it's just like, oh.
So you get that tension between the two characters very subtly.
Another thing about Dom that I acknowledge is comparatively okay. You've got the lead character of Luke, who is very much going through his own, emotional journey right now, as we learn more and more over the progression of the film what he's really dealing with after the loss of Rob. And then you've got the two other guys who are very understated. The only character that is played a bit bigger, and it's just because he's like the one who's like stressed and high strung and bitchy, is Dom. Like Dom's personality contrasts the other three in a way that makes him stand out just simply by existing how he does, he has like this kind of whininess quality that makes him instantly unlikable, and that only adds to his antagonistic kind of elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he gets a little grating after a while.
Yeah, he really does. He drove me a little crazy at certain
He's
points.
constantly complaining, and honestly, I think in the book it's even worse.
Really?
Yeah.
It's played well, though. Like, I mean, it helps. I want a character in this group to like less than the others. You need some kind of inner turmoil amongst this group,
for sure,
sparked amongst them.
They can't all just be like nice British dudes,
right? Exactly. Though I would love that. But so they have this moment with this memorial, like the shrine that they build that you mentioned, Troy, and it's brief, but it's lovely. They all have a drink and then they pour the rest out in his memory, and they start to take this hike, and we have this beautiful sequence of them moving towards what is this heavily treed area that you're starting to see. Like, you see the hillside and it's all like grassy. I mean, where they filmed this, it's like a misty paradise. It's so beautiful. But
it's beautiful. They filmed it in Romania.
I mean, it is breathtaking. It looks like a fairy tale, but it also looks it's like foreboding and horrifying at the same time. And so they're moving towards what is this, extremely thick wooded area. They are going to cut through this forest, or at least it ends up being that way because something happens that kind of adjusts their plans. But as if it wasn't bad enough, it starts raining. And while discussing where the placement of a man's bridge is, which is the area, the perineum, which is the taint, Dom manages, while Dom is like bitching, he manages to slip on this rut in the road. And of course, like within minutes of this beginning, he has twisted his ankle. And so not only is Dom the most annoying character, but he's given this aspect of like pain that continues throughout the rest of the film, that he's bitching the whole fucking time.
Yep, the whole fucking time.
Well, yeah, and Hutch explain, Hutch tells him, "Hey, we still have a long way to go. Are you going to be okay?" And he says, "Yeah, I'll be okay." And Hutch pulls Luke to the side and says, he's probably actually faking, and he's going to get to the point where we're probably going to end up carrying him out here. Yeah, so Hutch suggests a shortcut, and the shortcut is that they cut through this very dense forest. Of course, the guys at first are like very hesitant, but he's like, "Hey, this is going to cut so much time off our trip. But by tonight, we will be in town at the pub." So everyone agrees.
Yo, Dom was all about it at first.
Yeah. So they head through the forest, and of course, while they're heading through the forest, Dom is bitching about saying they should have went to Vegas instead. And I'm like, Dom, I hear you. I would much rather be in Vegas as well too.
Though upon like first visual, and again, Troy, this is the reason I'm the one that would die. Upon like first experience of this location, this locale, I'm like enchanted. I'm like all on board. It's not until it starts raining and gets really horrible that I'm like, God damn it, this is never mind. This is not up my alley. But just from a visual standpoint, it looks beautiful. So, one thing I like is that the movie, even like though they're still kind of in relatively high spirits, the movie starts to take a pretty ominous tone right off the bat. Like you start getting these really like eerie shots through the trees and everything, which become very like distorted, makes it clear it's hard to see what's moving around you. They start to
it's disorienting even for the the watcher.
Extremely disorienting. That's the perfect word. And yeah, and it's very much, it's something that carries on over the progression of the film, and in turn they use it in their favor for some of these scare moments coming up later that they have. But I really like that the movie starts to just right off the bat take this very like bleak, ominous tone in the approach to this story, even though the characters are, they're still making their way to their destination. Aside from the knee injury, they're just, they're a little hindered, but they're still feeling fine about it.
Well, and the sound design too, because right when they enter the woods, the forest, you start to hear faintly in the background during dialogue scenes or when they're walking.
Yep.
You do start to hear like this, like faint growling, and you start to hear
like
the
clicking
and the sound of like branches breaking. It's very soft, but you do hear it. So yeah, it's like the minute they enter those woods, the tone of the film, the ominous tone, kind of kicks into high gear. I think it becomes rainy, foggy.
Yeah, the sound design and the score, I thought throughout the entire thing was really awesome.
Yeah, and the cinematography, yeah, it's.
And that's why I said when I watched this on Netflix the first time, not that I'm expecting shit from Netflix, but it's like I've seen so many movies on there that haven't affected me. When I watch this feels like a cinematic experience. It's beautifully done.
Yeah, I mean the film looks great. The film looks stunning. I mean they did an amazing job production wise with this film. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, the audio, like they even have a bit of dialogue as they're entering this wooded area where they stumble upon like this kind of abandoned car at one point. It's from like the 60s, and they have this little bit of dialogue about like how when you enter the woods, it becomes so quiet because the trees soak up all of the sound around them, and so that's why it just sounds so like empty. And they really like play that into the movie's favor as it progresses, because every little like twig breaking, rustling of leaves, movement, the branches and everything moving, that's heightened. You hear all of it, and it really adds to the atmosphere of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely very atmospheric throughout the entire thing.
And they even come across like this old abandoned like van that's just out in the middle of the forest.
Right.
It's just kind of weird. Like, how the hell did that get here?
And if that's not fucking foreboding, like,
yeah, for sure.
Come on, like, they should have known better. But whatever. These poor,
because there's
British
men. There's no road or anything leading to this. It's
yeah,
just
right.
out in the middle of the woods. And Phil does have to make the comment that he got a hand job at a concert in one of those vans.
Well, and there's one thing to acknowledge that I did not even tie into until I watched it at this point. And I don't know if it's necessarily intention, but you know how later on in the movie they find that abandoned tent.
Yeah.
And there's this car from that era broken down over there. I wonder if that's meant to be tied together.
I think the wallet, the ID, I think it was from the 80s. Like
it expires in 1984, is what he said. So it could, I mean, who knows? It could have been 1981 for that a family to own a vehicle like that. I don't know. I'm tying little things together just because I think the story that this tells a very cohesive story. It is a piece of folklore. That's what's so interesting about it. It's a piece of folklore in of itself, and it tells this tightly knit little fable about a character kind of overcoming these demons by facing a literal demon or a god, but it keeps that folklore element to it the whole time. It's very intriguing. But yeah, so they're making their way through the woods, and the character of Dom is injured but muscling through it, and they start discussing what they want to eat upon their return home, and it's ranging from juicy steaks to Big Macs. And then in the middle of talking about like all of these meaty items, they stumble upon what is the corpse of a massive deer, like crucified amongst the trees. They stumble, intestines hanging, like it's freshly dripping. And it's just like they turn the corner and they're like, oh, and it's just there. And strong fucking image to have this be the first real piece of gore in the movie,
Yeah, it's up. It's hanging up high in the trees, and this is an elk. This isn't. Yeah, this is something that you would have to have.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah, you'd have to have some strength to get that motherfucker up there. And of course, they're freaked out. They're wondering who could have done that, and maybe it's hunters. But obviously, to get that thing up in the tree, it's not going to be a human that does that. But they They do have the wherewithal to actually see that it's still bleeding and to get the hell out of there because it's a fresh kill and whatever did it could still be very close.
I like the moment where one of them suggests that it's a bear, and the response of one of them is like, "Do bears do that?" Like they're like, "What the fuck?" I mean, like,
bear's gonna fucking eat
the
it.
response here is very well, again, well played. It is exactly as I would respond to probably finding an elk hung amongst the trees. So, but it's a great effect. The intestines are like hanging down to the ground, and one thing that's really I guess intriguing to me is something I think into now, having watched this multiple times, is when you think of what the result is, what the outcome is of this movie, how these things are getting in the trees, because you find out this is a theme, this is happening. The fact that this specific entity would do this to even deer and elk makes it that much more horrifying to me. Like, it's bloodlust for like anything living. Like, I mean, like, no wonder there's no animals living in this fucking forest, because there's this thing is fucking hanging them like fucking decor. Like, yeah. But yeah, it's a great first startle moment, and it adds like this just intimidating, foreboding element to the rest of the film. The characters are shaken by it, and they definitely like do not shake it off. So night's falling, the storm is coming in. There are fucking elk hanging from trees, and pretty soon it's literally like a monsoon, and they're forced to seek shelter in what is the most ominous house I've ever seen. Like, it's horrifying.
Yeah, and they stop before they get to the house. They see all of these weird symbols that are
which, like, come on.
that are carved into the trees around this house. Again, this is what gave me strong Blair Witch vibes. Is them coming upon this house in the middle of the forest, kind of the symbology of the whole thing. Definitely some Blair Witch vibes.
Yeah, this whole sequence within this cabin, it's brief, but they definitely, even though never goes into the territory of being a like a handheld home video style movie like a Blair Witch, because of the usage of like flashlights, and like they keep the lighting very stark, it has that kind of raw ferocity to it at times.
Definitely. This is my favorite in the entire movie, is this whole cabin sequence.
Yeah, it's really gritty, and like even like there's this, as they enter this cabin, I mean, right off the bat, it's not like this is like a Hansel or like a Goldilocks scenario where they stumble upon this beautiful cabin and are like lured. No, this cabin, like, it screams like people die here. Like, it is, yeah. And the character of Phil goes upstairs and he opens one of the rooms and finds the like most horrifying straw statue I've ever seen. And like, again,
yeah, just the craziest effigy ever.
Yeah, effigy, exactly. And it's like, go. I don't care if it's storming. I don't care. Like, it could be, the trees could be ablaze, but like, just go, because this is not a good place to be.
No, it's like a decapitated human, but it has like antlers sticking out of its head and neck. My ass, Roger, would have been out of there.
Oh, gone.
I would not have stayed.
It's like standing on chicken feet. Like, and they're like, this is witchcraft. Like,
Roger, don't shit yourself. You know damn well you'd be trying to get a selfie in front of it so you can post it on Instagram.
Recreating it, like, on either side. Like, Chris and I are like sitting, kissing on it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm done.
If you can't beat them, join them. And that's what this whole movie's about, guys. It really is like, if you can't beat them, join them. And they really want a specific character to join them. And, but this character maybe can beat him.
If the fucking thing, this monstrous statue wasn't enough, we also forgot to mention that there's these symbols hanging all throughout the house.
Oh, sure.
Oh, this house, there's not a piece of decor in this house. Like, this house, it's not even like they went with like a rustic chic. It is like wooden walls, effigy.
Casual effigy.
Casual effigy, and like cult utensils and imagery, and that's it. And that's like literally all this house has to offer to it. Mind-boggling that they stayed in this house. It baffles me why they stayed. But I guess what do you do when you're in the middle of a goddamn monsoon? So they end up staying the night. And we have what is basically the first sequence of something that starts to become a trend throughout this film, which is Something else the Descent kind of delved into, flashbacks to the initial moment of trauma within the film. The character of Luke, while staying in this location, this cabin, he has a nightmare that very much recreates the events at the beginning of the film. And one thing about this movie I love is how they manage to create this surreal, dreamlike state that the creature, what ends up being, I mean, like, let's be real, it's a fantasy horror, and it is a monster feature. It's a creature feature.
Mm-hmm.
What it does, its power is to kind of alter the minds of the individuals it's honed in on, and kind of take them into this like dreamlike world where they basically, like, in the case of Luke, he's taken back to the night of his trauma, and he keeps kind of reliving it over and over. I fucking love the way they incorporated this into the reality he's in.
Me too, for sure. I mean, if we can even just talk about practicality, like set design, like with that liquor store inside of that forest and the way that it melded together, it was so dope.
And in points like very subtle, and other points like you notice the ground is like soil,
Right.
but like it's completely laid out.
Exactly.
And he has this dreamy moment where he kind of recreates his steps from the liquor store, and he picks up the same exact liquor bottle. He notices a droplet of blood in it, and then he has this moment where he looks over, and all of the sudden, all of the shelves in front of him just blow back and start to knock back into this phenomenal reveal of him being in the woods. And I loved the way that this sequence was just executed. It's just eerie. It's cerebral. It's so well played.
It's surreal. Yeah, it's surreal looking. It's pretty cool. But he's outside, and he's screams, and he notices that he has like this puncture on his chest. His chest is bleeding, and there's like 3 puncture holes on his chest. And then all of a sudden he hears Hutch scream. So he runs back inside to the cabin, and Hutch is like on the floor fucking in hysterics, and he stands up, and he's pissed himself.
I find nothing scarier that in a movie, like if they want to make it feel gritty and real, make the person piss themselves. Like have someone piss themselves, because in moments of sheer fear, someone's peeing down the leg. You know it, and this just made it all the grittier, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then fucking Dom is there in the corner in his boxer shorts crying for his wife. So obviously we are getting the fact that this is like a group
experience
nightmare. Like, yeah, like this, everyone in this group has had some effect of being in this house, because lo and behold, they run upstairs because they notice Phil is gone, and they hear a noise upstairs. So Luke goes up and finds Phil butt ass naked, kneeling in front of that fucking altar.
Ugh, so creepy. So creepy.
They should have just burnt that fucking thing down when they got to the house.
True.
Yeah. And like the way this moment plays out, like he's basically positioned in the exact same, with his arms up in the same kind of stance as the actual statue. And like, when he comes to, like, he's not even aware of what he's doing. They all experience this exact same thing together, but they don't discuss it right away. There's a point later where they opt to, that I actually very much like that scene, but they don't. They kind of just all get dressed. Sure. And like they don't talk about, like, and I'm like, I get it. Like if I woke up butt ass naked in front of a goddamn like fucking demon goddess statue, like I would have things I'd wanted to talk about, but I don't know when I would be ready for it. Like it's a lot. That's a lot.
Especially if I pissed my pants.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's creepy.
I loved that. It's super creepy. I just love that whole concept of them all in this shared space, all experiencing the same thing, but differently. So they were all having their own version of this nightmare, whatever this trauma was, whatever this terror was. They were all going through it individually, woke up, realized they were all doing it, and then we're just like, fuck, let's get out of here.
Yeah, and let's not fucking talk about it, because men can't talk about their feelings.
Naturally.
But they are out of there, and understandably so, and they rush to leave, only to realize that like all of the trees outside of the house are also marked with the same Nordic like carvings, like, which they consider to be a warning, which, I mean, like, of course, like this does not seem like a safe place to be by any means. So Dom spots this path, and like even though it doesn't go in exactly the direction they're supposed to go, he insists on following it because a path means civilization. So like I get it, but I also think it's extremely like bad planning. Like this is already witch people. Like I mean, these mountain people, you know, they're up to no good. You already all felt a group possession. Like I would say, stick to the fucking plan. So Dom is really the reason that things go like off course, and this is the moment where Phil suggests that they discuss what happened because he's like, it's fucking weird. What happened? And Hutch tries to blow it off as just a nightmare, and Phil disagrees. And this is like a moment where we really start to see some of the tension within the group rise up, which escalates more and more. But I like this moment that like Phil is very much wanting to acknowledge something just happened, and you have another character who's responding completely with just denial. That's exactly what would happen, you know?
Well, yeah, because Phil is like, I don't care if it was a nightmare or not. There's no way I would have done that. Like that, I know myself. I would not have done that. This wasn't a nightmare. There was something else at play. And Hutch is shutting him down. He's like, no, it was just a bad dream. Let's just keep going. Let's keep going. So, and actually, as they're walking through, they do see another cabin, and smartly they ignore it and walk right by. Yeah.
Right, for once.
They do get to a point where Dom, he needs a break. His knees bothering him. He has to stop and take a break. Hutch right away says, you know what? You have to push on. You can't keep doing this. And Dom's like, oh, are you a doctor all of a sudden? Why don't you go give yourself a prostate exam and leave me alone for a minute? And they all kind of gang up on Dom at this point and tell him they have to keep moving. They want to get out of the forest. And Dom's like, no, I need a break. So in the meantime, Luke decides he's going to go up over the ridge to look to see how far he can see, to see if he can see like the end of the woods. So as he's out there, he runs up to the ridge, he gets out in the middle of the woods, looks on, and just all he can see is forest, as far as the eye can see. And then he starts to hear the growling and the tree branches snapping in the distance. This is what you were talking about, Roger. You kind of get a frame of the forest, and you it's kind of blurry, so you can't really see what's going on, but you can hear it, and you can hear the growling as he's looking into the forest. And all of a sudden, you do see something. Like there's a large growl, a branch snaps, and you get a glimpse of this large figure. And that's it. It's quick. It's like a split second. You don't even get to see hardly anything, but it's very unsettling.
If you look, I mean, first of all, I was already enjoying the film, but this is the moment when I watched it the first time that I was like, sign me the fuck up. Like, this is my kind of horror. I love the simplicity in this scene. Like, it's just a matter of like, the viewer at this point, because they've seen this kind of shot over and over. You're waiting for something. So you're just looking really closely to see if you can see something. And all of a sudden there's that motion of this way like bigger than you anticipated as the viewer. But one thing I really love about this scene is he's going through the woods. It's mostly like a pine tree kind of tree, and then he enters an area it's completely different. It's like a fine line, and it becomes this completely different kind of tree, and it shifts the whole tone of the scene for a moment. And then as you're looking and you're focusing, Troy, I don't know if you caught this, but there is a hand.
Oh yeah, the little tiny hand.
Yeah, there's a hand on the edge of the tree, and it's the fingers slip around, and it's very hard to see it unless you're like focusing on the right area because it's so discreet. It's very easy to miss it. So you've got to look really close, but there's this hand like gripping the edge of the tree, and it starts to slink around before you see the thing move forward. And it's just like this little subtle detail, but it just makes my skin crawl. It makes me think of like, if you think of some of the classic like Asian, like Japanese horror, like when you think of things like The Ring with the hand starting to come over the edge of the well, moments like that, it makes your skin crawl, and it's so well executed. They do such a great job with this moment.
Well, yeah, they do this same kind of effect a few times throughout the movie where the thing that you would normally be looking at is already there. You just can't see it. And
yeah, and it's because of its shape and its size and its structure. It just kind of blends in, and at times, like you don't even anticipate it to be part of what you're looking at until it's suddenly moving, and that makes the thing that much more intimidating.
Oh hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you just see that it's huge as well. You just know it's something huge. So he runs back to the group and tells the others that he just saw something in the woods, and they're a little hesitant to believe him until he does finally show them the puncture wounds on his chest. And Dom's response right away is, "You probably did that to yourself."
Right, like what?
He just loves to agitate Luke. It's just, and Luke asks, "Why do you always have to disagree with me?" And Dom says, "Because I don't value your opinion." What a stab that is, right? What a jab that is.
Right, that's rough.
Oh, this is such a cunt move.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Though I will say, like, when he starts calling him out, if he would have said this in a calmer manner and not been such a little bitch about it, when he's like, you probably were sleepwalking and you like ran into a tree. Like, honestly, like the way that the puncturing is in his chest, if he would have said that to him in like a kinder, more lucid mindset, I would have actually kind of bought that, and a little bit, comparatively speaking to what they're about to encounter.
Right.
Because there's really no explanation for what it is until you see it, and it's fucking horrifying. But like, if he would have just kept his cool a little bit, I think he could have actually gotten his point across. But then all of a sudden he has to come out swinging with the fucking bitch lines about the quality of man that Luke is, and that the fact that he is the reason that Rob is dead. Like, this is what this argument builds to. It's very insulting. And Dom ends up getting fucking punched in like the throat because he's being such a bitch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He blames Luke for Rob. He says, how did you get out without a drop of blood on you? But yet Rob lost his life. And there is a moment before Luke punches Dom that Luke tells Dom, "We are not friends anymore. You aren't my friend."
Yeah, that was an awesome moment.
It's very emotional. And then he punches him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he punches him in the nose, but I wish it was the throat because I love a throat punch, but but yeah, so he punches him, and like, I get it, like, good for him. Dom earned that punch. So the fear and paranoia at this point, I think, is really starting to kick in with all the characters. We're getting all these little tensions flaring up between everybody, which is making it just that much more uncomfortable. But they're still kind of powering through it. And as night falls, they discover like a piece of fabric underneath like a layer of dirt, and so they pull it out and they find what is an old cloth tent buried under like leaves and soot. And in the tent they find a wallet with like a photo of a family and a credit card that is, they state, expires 1984, to show that this is how long this has been here. And basically there's no way that anyone would just up and leave their shoes and their wallets. Whoever was there in that tent obviously had to have met their demise in that forest. So just another little detail that just makes things like, oh fuck, we're fucking fucked, you know?
Yeah, that this is not the only time that something like this has happened, right?
Yeah. And Hutch states that they're safe because they registered at the lodge, but like the morale is still, it's plummeting at this point, and like understandably so. Rations are getting low. Dom's knee is legitimately badly wounded, like he's bitching, but it looks horrible.
Yeah, there's that scene where Hutch gives Dom a piece of whatever the snack is, and he sees Dom has his pant leg pulled up, and you see his knee is literally all red and bruised. Looks pretty damn painful. So his bitching, at least he might have a reason for it, because that looks pretty painful.
Luke is smoking and he hears the movement again coming from the woods. It's happened a few times now where he has heard the audio of something lurking in the woods around them. And so there's this moment where he's in his tent and he turns off his light and he hides himself. Like, he sits quietly and kind of waits as the audio of something massive, what sounds like to be an elephant, stomps by his tent. And so he finally unzips, he peeks out, and there's nothing. However, he hears it coming again, and so he kind of hides himself as it moves around the edge of the tent. And as he pokes his head out again, in what I think is a great fucking startle moment, the tent across from him, which is oh my god, what is it? What's his name? It starts with an H.
Hutch.
I keep wanting to say Huck. Hutch. He's sitting across from Hutch's tent, and all of a sudden, out of like nowhere, it just like fucking gets yanked away. And again, it just, I jumped out of my fucking seat. It scared the shit out of me.
Oh, who you telling?
But and he sees, but it cuts to him seeing another vision of Rob being killed in the liquor store.
Yeah.
And this time the guy that killed Rob actually looks right at Luke and says, "Coward."
And when he looks at him and makes eye contact with him, there's this very simple and subtle effect on the eyes that give them this kind of like golden tint, which ends up making sense later, but it's definitely a striking moment.
Yeah, and then he wakes up to hear Phil screaming. He runs out of his tent, and Phil's going ballistic, saying, "It took him, it took him." And they look over at he looks over at Hutch's tent, and it's like pretty much destroyed. They hear Hutch scream in the distance and like the growling. So they take off to go look for him. And Dom actually goes after him and is like, "Don't be stupid. Don't just, run willy-nilly into this forest. We have to stay where we're at. We have to get our bearings, go back to the tent, and figure out what the right way to go is. Let's not be, let's not be hasty and just take off and get lost," which makes sense, right? So it cuts to the next morning, and they're hiking through this serene forest now. It's calm. It's morning, so it's kind of bright. Still kind of dreary. And as they're hiking, they come across Hutch's body now, gutted and hanging in the trees.
Man, this is what I think this film does really, really well is when it decides to have its moments. It's not like throwing them out everywhere. It's not like scare after scare after scare after scare. It's building up and building up until they'll give you this, what is oftentimes actually a quite graphic reveal. But there's a lot of moments of slow burning suspense between these rather gory sequences. So they time their scares and their shocks really well. And this moment I love because Dom starts screaming at the top of his lungs. Each man responds differently. Luke starts like breaking down crying. And it's just very like hopeless. It's a really effective scene. One thing that I find intriguing at this point, I would say this is when I started to realize that the villain, the antagonist, whatever it is at this point, because you still don't know, it's clear that it's bringing up these kind of like hallucinations that the character of Luke is having, and you start to find out that other characters, when they dreamed, they saw their own kind of visions. It seems to be kind of like a power of this creature to kind of manipulate or cause one to hallucinate based off of their own fears.
They're freaking out. Phil basically says that it's been following them since they left that house. And Luke is like, "Oh, he tells him he saw the creature in the woods." And of course, Dom doesn't want to believe him. It's like, no, it's just hillbillies fucking with us. They continue, find a stream so they can get a drink.
Dom has a moment where he insists on burying Hutch. That like it shows how each man has a different way of kind of coping through this, or they're all very opinionated. Like Dom isn't willing to work with anybody. Luke has his own kind of plan. They're not really working together. They're kind of their own downfall at times. But Dom is super insistent on setting up this very elaborate burial site, which took, I'm sure, far too long. Like they do not need to be wasting time. Like he will be missed. Hutch will be missed, but you guys got to keep fucking moving. But like by the end of it, this man is buried under so many fucking pine branches, and like it's a huge burial site.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like, love you, man, but gotta go.
Gotta survive.
Yeah. So yeah, when after they find that stream, Luke decides he's going to go up ahead and see again if he can find the end of the forest, if he can at least see where the forest ends. He does go down there, and he sees, this is like the first glimpse we see of, like, off in the distance, we see like this path of burning torches, which to me, that would freak me out. Just to be in the middle of the woods and then just see all of these, like, off in the distance, all these burning torches. Sure. Like forming a path, I'd be like, yeah, we got to get that.
No, that would be a hard no.
Yeah, and you could tell that he's instantly like suspicious of it, because like this is the point of the evening where like the sun is really starting to just now set, and you see the light like diminishing as he starts going back down through the woods to tell the guys of what he discovered. So as he gets further in the woods, it gets darker like right away.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the character of Phil turn on his flashlight, and there's this really brief conversation where Luke, asks him what he's doing because they've been trying to hide their lights at this point. And Phil says that they heard something. And as soon as Phil turns, and this is one of those moments of you don't see it that it's there until it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Phil turns with the flashlight. You see the beam of light move, and all of a sudden he is yanked.
Got him.
Violently yanked into the woods. And what is one of the most effective moments in the film, I would say. Like, you see the flashlight spinning around in the shadows, and you hear screaming, and it's just like, every time they set up one of these big sequences, this movie, I think, hits.
Yeah, it's highly effective. You see the flashlight like fly out of his hand and start spinning around. And all you do is hear him like being dragged away and screaming. Yeah, it's definitely pretty unsettling. He turns to run and, like you said, runs Mac into a tree. And then that's
Yeah.
kind of fun. He turns around to take off running, hits a tree, but then it causes him to kind of have another vision of the liquor store robbery. But he snaps out of it when he hears the creature growling really close to him, and he does see Dom like cowering behind a big fallen log. He goes over to Dom and tells him, "Hey, I may have found a way out, but it's going to involve you running. Do you think you can run?" And Dom's like, yeah. So he's like, on 3, we're going to take off. Okay. And they count to 3 and they hesitate a second, but they do take off running. And the thing does start chasing him. You hear branches breaking and growling, and the creature's chasing after him. And they sure do get to this torch lit path pretty quickly, considering just a minute ago it looked like it was miles off in the distance.
That is a very good point, Troy.
Yeah. But they get there pretty quick. They find the path lit by torches. They also see Phil's body hanging from a tree. This time they don't stop though to do any funeral. They keep running.
Right.
One thing this film, I think, really excels at is, for like a large majority of the film, they opt to show very little of the creature, which works strongly in its favor, I think. But where a lot of these moments are coming from, and what's making it seem so terrifying and intimidating, is a lot of it, like, it's huge. You don't know what it is, you just know it's massive. And it's because, like, a lot of these scenes when they're running through the woods now and everything, you see like the treetops behind them like arching and billowing and bending and cracking, and it's just like, it's not like they're being even chased by like a lion or like I know, okay, I don't know if there's not lions in Sweden, but like a bear. Like, this could be a bear. No, this is like triple the size of a fucking bear. It's like the size of a moderate sized house,
right,
moving
sure.
through the woods, and it's like leaving aftermath. And so it just makes it so, like, even though they show you so little of it, it's the fear factor is palpable because you just know it's hulking.
It makes it even more ominous and foreboding because you don't know exactly what it is, because you don't know what it looks like. You're just seeing motherfuckers get yoinked from nowhere, just like, what?
Oh my god, that flashlight scene! I remember, like, the first time I saw that movie, I'd already been frightened a few times. I've been startled. There was a really good startle moment right before that of when Luke starts to scale the hillside with the guys, and they're like just climbing, and in the distance you have one of those shots you mentioned earlier, Chris, of like all of a sudden what looks to be a tree just moves.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I know what you're
and
talking
about, it just makes my skin crawl. But then, like, oh man, that flashlight, that build up to that moment with the flashlight, because something's going to happen, but it just hits out of nowhere. I like jumped out of my fucking seat and gave a whoa. And like, I always remember that about this movie. This is a movie that made me like verbally respond. To get that out of me this day and age, like at 35, like, I mean, for any horror movie to get me to react that way, it's doing something right,
Yeah. They continue down the path and find a fucking cabin. You would think they would have learned their lesson from that first cabin they ran into, but no. They go right into this cabin. There's some creepy folk music playing on a record player, and they see the symbols all throughout this cabin. And all of a sudden, it's kind of awkwardly done, but apparently they get knocked out.
I think it works for the moment because they are so like, they're disoriented. Their senses are so fucking heightened after being chased by a fucking like skyscraper, like through the woods. That I think like it's what they literally they get in there, they like just stumble onto the floor and they look up and bam, they're knocked out. But it's very like disorienting, but it works because it makes sense. What's surprising enough, they wake up in the same room together. And moving forward, like the rest of these scenes, they're the only two left of the group. I appreciate that the two of them shed a lot of their animosity towards each other. Like they seem to genuinely care about each other's well-being. Like there is a few moments of them like butting heads and getting in each other's throats because they were stressed. But at this point, like they kind of have tossed that aside. So I do appreciate that. Dom is not nearly as annoying the second half of the movie as he was the first half for me.
Definitely. It's also essentially the first time in the film you see where any kind of foundation of friendship could have come from with them. You know what I mean? Like they're never friendly really towards each other throughout the movie. This is the first point where you're like, so you do care about each other. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you know what? Going back to the very beginning of the film, there is a comment that Dom makes to Rob while they are in the liquor store where he says about Dom, he's like, man, he's really what does he say? He's really let himself go or something like that, where you kind of get the first hint that they're
Oh
maybe a
yeah.
relationship. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he says.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, must be really hard being a big successful businessman. Like
Yeah. He
yeah.
says something like very condescending
Yeah,
about
snarky. Yeah.
yeah. So you kind of right away, if you were paying attention, got the indication that there is sort of some turmoil in their relationship. So it is nice then to towards the end of the film to see them at least trying to maybe not mend a friendship, but do what they can to survive. But it doesn't last long because, well, Luke is able to poke a hole through the wall of the cabin. And he looks out and he sees all these townspeople erecting like this giant wooden cross, which is never a good thing.
No, like it is quite the display. And one of the things I found really interesting about the townspeople right off the bat, and I noticed it like pretty quick, is they all have a very distinct look to them. They're all very like lanky and gaunt and gray and pale. Their eyes are very like sunken in, and like this comes into play way more. But I know, like right off the bat, you notice that not only are these like towns, like mountain folk, but they're like either they're very malnourished or there's just something wrong with them.
No, there's something wrong with them. right.
Yeah, I dare say. But so the guys are trying to like develop a plan to escape, but before anything can really happen, aside from Luke starting to kind of like figure out a plan to how to get his like wrists untied, um the door opens.
Here we go, Roger. This is our next. This is
dream roll.
This is April for our calendar shoot.
Yes, this is April.
I'll be the old woman, and you can be one of the. Oh, this old woman.
Oh my God, this woman! Like she is. Every movie has an icon. In this movie, she's mine.
I concur. I totally.
She steals
agree.
the show. She walks in. She's like chewing on cud. Like I don't know. She's just.
Is that what that is?
I don't know. She's just chewing. Like I find.
I was like, where'd she get chewing gum
I know,
from?
but the idea of just people like that chewing motion in general, is she gumming? Does she have no teeth? She's just gumming. But whatever it is, she's doing something with her jaw. She's very small. She like waddles right on up with like a chalice of water and like, she gives some to Luke. Then she goes over to Dom and she's like, no. She's like, you know what? No. She's like, go fuck yourself. And
he's like, oh, you thought.
This little old broad, man, she really steals the show for the few seconds that she's in it.
Yeah, she's pretty funny. Also, can I say on a gay note, did you notice that her hair was crimped?
I mean, there are some fashion choices going on within this wilderness facility that, like, I'm confused.
She had straight up, like, crimping iron crimped hair. I was like, wait a second.
Well, she's got a big night to get ready for because they're having a sacrifice.
Right, she got cute.
Oh.
Oh, but she goes over to Luke and gives him some water, right? And she pulls down his shirt to see his wound, and then she shows him that she has the exact same, right? The exact same wound. Goes over to Dom, won't give Dom any water, but instead has these two henchmen of hers take Dom out of the room. They hit him in the head first and then drag him upstairs. So we get this like prolonged scene of Luke having to listen to Dom scream from upstairs as this thing is like growling and bashing around. It's actually pretty unsettling.
And you hear like this strange like chanting at times. It sounds like Norse or something. Like it's very like deep and like I don't know if that's what they're listening to on their fucking recording or whatever, but it just adds to the whole discomfort I'm experiencing over the course of this. But then surprisingly enough, they do bring Dom back and he is beaten and bruised, but he is still alive. He does come back into play.
Yeah, you do, but you do before that. Another broad comes in.
This is my girl. I love this mountain woman.
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna call her Wendy. She looks like she'd be a Wendy.
Sure, I see that. I see that for her.
She is. She's very like she's very like lanky. She's got like blonde straw-like hair and a gaunt face.
So now going back to what you were saying earlier, Roger, do you think that is the woman from the wallet in the forest?
Oh my god, man. You know what? Now I don't even have that note here. This is you being a fucking genius. I fucking hope so. I mean, that would really throw me for a loop because if you notice, one of the mother in that photo does have blonde hair. Yeah. Oh my god, Chris, this is why we have you on.
That could be, and we know we know that they don't age because of this whole ritual they do.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that she still looks fairly young.
Yeah, she has a very how can I word this? I like this character just fine. She only has like 2 scenes, but she really is simply introduced for the sake of like moving the story along and giving some exposition. And it's like, okay, girl, like, why are you helping this man? Like, why are you, or not even helping, you're kind of just narrating to him so he better understands what's going on. But like, I think like she's fine for what she is, but I'm confused as towards why she has these moments with him. Like,
well, yeah, if I were to say anything about this movie that I wasn't super pleased with, it was this whole like third chunk where a lot of it felt a little bit a little rushed, a little bit spoon-fed. Like you said, that woman was kind of just there just to be like, yo, this is what's up, this is what's going on, and then no background, no character development, no nothing as far as that goes.
Yeah, and for a film that up to this point has moved so like, there's only been one story we've been really following, and it's this group of characters, and like they've just been kind of wandering and dying, and all of a sudden now we're at a point in the film where they're in this village and there's like a ritual happening, and like any understanding we the viewers are getting are from this woman that's like solely having dialogue to narrate it. I would have liked maybe a little more time in the village.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I was thinking when I was watching this, I was like, I wish that last third could have been pushed to about the halfway point, because then we could have delved a little deeper into the background of that world that we were eventually taken into. You know, if we had gotten there closer to the halfway point, we would have gotten more story, more character development, and just like plainly like cool, creepy, folky horror stuff that we didn't get that much of because it was just in that last 1/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I think the ending is a little bit rushed, and it would have been really interesting to be able to spend some more time, like you said, Chris, with these town people and kind of get a glimpse of like their daily life. Like all we see from them, or all we know of them now with this particular film and how it's presented, is that their sole purpose is to find people to sacrifice to this creature.
That's literally all we know.
They really don't have any other purpose, but they've been in these woods for years, and I can't imagine that many people are like hiking through this particular spot so that they are constantly like, I can't imagine there's a barrage of victims parading through their little town on a daily basis. What are they doing outside of that? You know, what does their life consist of?
Yeah, how do they like survive on a day-to-day?
Yeah,
does this thing just does this entity that we're introduced to like live amongst them in peace?
Exactly. That's kind of
like, give me, I'm not saying like they do a really good job of what we are informed about this weird little fucking troop living in the middle of the woods, sacrificing people. What I see from it, I like it. I just want more.
Yes.
Like, I want to see, like, give me a director's cut of the ritual. Tell me there weren't more scenes with that woman. Like, I'm sure there's a scene of her on, like, a rocking chair or something. Like, give me all of it. I want to know everything. Because I'm sure there's stuff that had to have hit the cutting room floor that maybe, like, slowed the pace down but gave more exposition. And out of my own curiosity, because I'm so entranced with what the story's going, I just want to know about why these people choose to be here.
Too.
I would tell you to read the book.
Do we get more background in the book as far as these people
There's
go?
a little bit more. Admittedly, not much, but I think enough to satisfy you in terms of like the questions that you have about this particular film and how it's presented and what was eventually like brought into the screenplay for this film versus what was left out of the novel. I would say definitely read the book, check it out, or at least like read the last 50 pages of the book.
Troy, was that woman in the book?
There is a townswoman in the book, yeah.
The small one?
Well, I mean, it's really hard to gauge if it's like that particular woman. There is a older woman in the book, yeah.
Okay, got it.
I don't think they describe her as being like, 3 foot.
They don't say that she has crimped hair.
Yeah, she doesn't have crimped hair. She ain't ready for her night out on town.
She looks like a little California raisin woman.
Oh, she's adorable.
Shriveled. She's adorable. I'm a fan. But yeah, so basically at this point, thanks to this woman's exposition, I mean, Luke is getting ready for a
she comes in and she's like, "You're being prepared for sacrifice tonight. It'll be over soon."
She's got 4 lines, and it's just like that. Literally, like one of the 4 things this woman says is like, "There's going to be a sacrifice. Get ready." Like, thank you for that very blunt piece of information.
and then Dom is brought back at this point. Which one I guess they just took him up to beat him and get the monster.
Well, they took him upstairs to that creepy room.
I want to know what goes on in that creepy
That's
room.
Where all the chanting and stuff was coming from.
I know, like I would have liked to have seen. I think it was cool the way they did it.
But well, we did. We went up there.
No, I'm saying, like, when he gets taken upstairs and presumably beat, it's all done through audio. Like, you don't see what happens upstairs. Like, I want to see, are they just beating this guy with pipes? Is the creature coming in and the creature just, like, punching him? Like, I mean...
My impression, you want to know what my impression? My impression was that they took him up there and then hold on. The creature's fucking huge. So how did the creature go up in that little room?
Well, not only that, but if he came back, don't you think he'd be like, "Oh my god, the thing that beat the shit out of me was terrifying."
Maybe it was just looking in through the window. I don't know.
Does he?
I think they brought him up to that creepy upstairs room where presumably, I'm assuming that all of those were like all the elders of the village who weren't fully dead yet, which I'm sure we'll get to, whatever. But I'm sure they brought him up there and did the beginning of whatever the sacrifice ritual is.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. I thought maybe they were bringing him up there to do some sort of, I don't know, this is probably the wrong word, but like test to make sure that he was the one that the actual creature wanted sacrificed. Okay. Because Dom, as we find out, Luke, as we find out, is kind of the chosen one, right?
Yeah, he has the mark of the beast.
He's the one that gets to live. So I thought maybe they took Dom up there to make sure that he was the proper sacrifice, so that like the monster could like sniff him out and be like, "Yeah, this is the motherfucker I want."
I mean, regardless of what the intention is, I still thought it was artistically done in a way that like you just hear the screams and everything through the floor, and like I didn't really need to see it. Like I've already seen some quality moments of terror over the course of this film. I like that it picks and chooses like its big moments, because there are a couple of big moments coming up here. So I don't know if we necessarily needed a big gory bloodbath leading up to what's about to happen, which is pretty fucking mind-blowing, and how this all culminates. So Dom is brought back down, and he starts to tell Luke about what had happened in the dream he had prior when he was screaming for his wife Gail. He started to basically see all of this. He predicted in this dream that he was going to be offered up by these villagers. And right before he died, he said he saw the face of his wife, Gail. And that's why he was screaming for her name when he was having the nightmare. And that's right when it leads to into basically the villagers coming inside and grabbing him and starting to prepare him for this ritual.
Yeah, I do, and Dom does tell Luke that they're gonna kill me. He's very blunt. He's like, "They're gonna kill me. You are the one that has to get out of here. And when you get out of here, burn this fucking place to the ground. And tell my wife." I thought this was kind of sad. It kind of made. He's like, "Tell my wife that I tried to get back to her." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah. I like that they get over their shit at the end of this. I think like at this point these two are working together and it's sad. It leaves a bit of a lump in your throat this moment, which I mean when a movie of this genre can kind of emotionally impact me in any way, I take my hat off to it because yeah, this is a tender, sad moment in the midst of a very fantastical event. You know.
So Dom is let out. He's tied to the cross. And to prepare for, he's being prepared for the sacrifice. The creature growls. You can hear the creature growling in the distance, and all the town folk kneel in front of the cross and kneel in front of Dom, who's tied to it. Luke is watching from the inside, but he's tied up, and he is trying to get out of his restraints, and his hands won't fit through the restraints. So yeah, what he ends up doing is fucking. I don't know if I could do this. Let's see. I'm not this.
Oh,
this
no,
makes my asshole.
Yeah, well, this is like that. What was that movie with James
Nope.
Franco? It was based on a true
die.
story. The guy.
Oh my god! About like 48 hours or whatever the fuck.
See, I would be dead. That's an occasion.
No, I would die.
Yeah, that's an occasion, Roger, that I would be dead because I would not cut anything off. I'm not going to break my finger. I'm not going to do any of that shit. I would just curl up and be like, okay, fuck it. Guess I'm dead. But he literally breaks his thumb so that it's limp enough that he can pull it through the restraints.
Oh yeah, my asshole was just like puckered at this point. You know, I'm like, you know what I'm saying. You get it. I'm not trying to be crude, but that's how it feels. Like you're just like on the edge of your seat, rocking. And so as this is happening, he is watching as Dominic is mounted on this like wooden pole, and Dominic, you know, I'll give it to him at the very end, looking fear right in the face and screaming, "If you're going to do it already!" Like he starts calling for them to do it. And so they do. Like they all drop to their knees, and he looks around. And he's like, "Oh shit!" There's this like orchestra of like clanking and these ominous strings. It builds so nicely. Dom is waiting for this massive thing to hit at this point, and you see the trees moving and rustling, and all of a sudden from the bottom, like down by the path, you see Gail appear, his wife, and she walks up to him and she takes his head in her hands and she like gives him this like warm comforting smile, but you notice her eyes are glowing gold, and it cuts to his face like in terror, and it cuts back and you finally get like a clear view of the creature. And like, man, I gotta say, I am picky when it comes to a monster movie, but maybe it's because they waited as long as they did to really show it clearly. I found the reveal of this design to be like fucking like horrifyingly breathtaking. It's unlike anything I can think of within the genre.
Okay, that I was gonna ask you guys because you both are obviously so much more well versed in horror than I am, but I found this monster extraordinarily innovative and original and unlike anything that I personally have seen before.
I love that they just did something totally different. And it works in the movie's favor, yeah. I think. What about you, Troy?
It is definitely a unique looking creature. I like you, Chris. I have not seen something similar to this. I really like that they kind of the design is definitely very folklorish, Nordic, because it is the body of it's like a giant elk, right? Which makes sense for it being in Sweden. But then it has like arms coming out of its mouth. It's hard to explain. But it's
super. That's part of the allure of it. Is like even as they show more and more and more of this monster, you're like, what am I looking at? Like, there's arms coming from here. That looks like a body. That looks like a fit. Like it's so cool. It's so intricate.
What I think really adds to the overall appeal for me about this is like it has the torso of an elk, but once it gets to like the point of the neck, it kind of just is its own thing. It's unlike anything I can really explain. What I can best describe is that if you've seen the movie, you'll understand this. But if you're watching the movie for the first time after listening to this review, when you see the kind of the shrine piece that Phil prays to, the statue earlier in the film,
Mm-hmm.
it's the bust of that is like the secondary torso of this creature that extends from like what would be the one part of the body's forehead. It has like two faces that like form different shapes.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely like an amalgamation of like a bunch of weird fucking things in a bunch of weird
Yeah,
places.
and it's like human-like elements, but it has animalistic
Yep.
elements. The arms at times become antlers. Like it's breathtaking. Like it is such an intricate and well thought out design, and
Yeah,
because
I agree.
and you can see the because of the lore it's based on, you can see the basically like the that they really took from that they really took inspiration from that and created something that felt very like of that belief system and fantastical background, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it talks too.
Oh yeah, it did kind of like murmur words.
Yeah, there are moments where it's actually using the language that the town people speak in, which I thought was a really interesting choice to give this thing such a human quality that it's speaking in this whatever language. I don't know, but there are a few moments where it does audibly say something, but it ultimately, yeah, it kills Dom. It slams him against a tree and impales him on a branch.
What a cool shot that is, though.
Yeah.
It's like because it's
Yeah,
one
that was a
fluid
cool shot.
shot. It's for the sequence of you see the basically what the thing does is it grabs onto an individual and it uses its hallucinations to just like intoxicate them and trance them, and then while they're under its spell, it takes them over to a tree and it mounts them on the branches through their torsos, killing them. So it's like that's how its offering is. That's the ritual. That is the ritual that thus I'm assuming the title is of the book is inspired off of, is how it ritualistically hangs these living, and I say animals because we found the deer earlier in the movie from the trees, and it is a very interesting kill. I mean, it makes for a very visually like horrifying image of these bodies with branches like stabbing through their torsos. At one point, Dom sees the bodies of people who have, this has been done to prior, and they're like rotting in the trees, and it is a horrifying graphic image.
Yeah, so after that, the girl does come back in, the younger girl, for two other lines because he asks her if they took Dom's body down from the tree. And she says, as you just kind of pointed out, Roger, they don't move the bodies. And then he asks her what it is. What is the creature? And she says, it's God. It's a Yotan, a bastard offspring of Loki. And I don't know what any of these things are. I'm assuming they're Nordic mythology creatures, correct?
Loki is, yeah, he's
Yeah.
Nordic.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, this thing is part of that religious belief system, which is a very interesting twist to take with the whole thing with like, so it's I think it's Yotan and then Loki. It's the son of Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, and it's I did not anticipate this movie to go that route, but you know what? Like what movie fucking does? Like, okay, we're gonna like go Nordic like mythology. Fuck yeah.
I mean, they are in Sweden. I mean,
Bring it on.
yeah.
Like, it's great.
Yeah, they are, like you said, they are in Sweden, so it makes sense that.
Yeah, they're in Sweden, so it makes sense, yeah.
And she tells him that they worship it for eternal life, basically. As long as they worship this thing and give it sacrifices, they don't age. And she says that he is the chosen one and that his ritual begins tonight and that he will kneel before it just as they did.
And he like protests it, and she's like, "You will fucking kneel. Oh, you will kneel." Now since he's gotten free, he's at whenever when she's left and everything, he does get up and start to wander the house, and he sees that the villagers are preparing outside for this ritual. So he grabs one of the torches and he's wandering through the house trying to find an alternate way to escape. And he enters this room, and basically he finds that it's filled with like mummified corpses. At first they look like scarecrows. They're so dried out.
Yeah, dude, they were awesome. They were so cool.
The design here is really fucking good, especially with what happens.
The design is the design was fucking beautiful.
Because as he moves through the room, he realizes that they're breathing. These things are still alive, and so while you're literally here. I think is another example of why I would have liked a little more time and exploration within the village, is because I am literally going off of one of the 4 lines of dialogue Blonde Woman said. This thing gives us eternal life. Okay, this is what I'm assuming is by eternal life. I don't mean a life where I look beautiful and preserved for all time like a vampire. I eventually I dry out and I become a living husk. Just like
right. That's the way I interpret it.
And I don't want that shit. I mean, so you already look malnourished and gaunt. Let alone these fucking living handkerchiefs in here that would blow away at a windstorm. There's all these old gals screaming. They all start screaming. So he lights them on fire, and I would too. They look like they go up real fucking easy.
They did. They went up real quick
because they're made of fucking tissue paper. But it really is they're quick to, once you're in this village and you start getting little bits of exposition, they're just handing it out, plowing towards the finale, and they're really quick to just dish out that line, this thing gives eternal life. I would love to have had a little bit more build up to understanding what the fuck is going on with these fuckers in the attic, because that's interesting to me. That is an intriguing, interesting development,
and it just got skipped over so quick.
Yeah,
it does. It gets you see him, they scream, he lights them on fire.
It's such a well done sequence.
But then he does run. I got a kick out of this. He runs into the old lady again.
Oh, this is the best.
As he's leaving the room after he set these fucking old mummified bodies on fire, he runs into the old lady. She's just standing there glaring at him, and he fucking punches her in the face.
Just socks her straight in the face.
She doesn't do. I mean, eventually she would have done something, but it's a moment where they just make eye contact and she doesn't respond. She just looks at him. He looks at her. She looks at him, and he fucking punches her. And it is comedic because this woman is so frail. She went down like a bag of socks. This poor old thing. I loved it, and good on him. Good on him. I don't trust any of these fucking people.
Yeah, no, especially her. Let's be real here.
Bitch. He arms himself with a fucking shotgun. He's ready to get the fuck out of here. And this house that's made of dried sticks, it is going up in flames like a motherfucker. This house is about to go down.
Well, yeah, the town folks notice it's on fire, but before they can do anything, the creature comes prancing in, and they have to kneel to it. Apparently, every time this creature shows up, they have to drop to their knees.
Feels right.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
yeah, and he don't give a fuck. He's pissed because the ritual is not going to plan, and so he just fucking starts killing them.
Well, he knew it was that blonde bitch.
Oh, he knew that her 4 lines of dialogue were spent pre-warning Luke about what's about to happen. So he knew she was a snitch, and snitches get stitches, or in this case, they get their eyes removed.
Or they get dead.
But there are a few really cool shots as all of this is building up that Luke will look outside and he'll just see bodies getting lifted up. It's a massacre, and it's pretty fucking horrifying. And as he's getting his gun loaded, one of the villagers approaches him and in a very not intimidating way, just is starting to walk towards him, being hey, everything's okay. And he fucking blasts this fucker in the gut. The guy goes flying through the air. It's so much more graphic than I anticipated.
Yeah, and this is when he sees the creature, the blonde girl, get lifted up by something outside and thrown back down. And when she's thrown back down, she has no eyeballs. Yeah.
This leads into what I would say is probably one of the single most effective reveals of the creature over the course of the movie. One thing that really impresses me about this film is we've seen a lot of takes on like the the monster movie at this point in time, and a lot of them are starting to rely on CGI, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And like this film does use CGI, but because it does a take on the monster movie that's so original and so unique, and it does it really well. I think it really hits it out of the park. I have to say at this point, like having seen the creature clearly, in my opinion, one of the single best creature designs I can think of in the last 20 years. They really are smart with their usage of shadow. They pick and choose when they show it. At the end, you do get a couple shots that you see it clear as day, but you can tell like a lot of fucking money must have gone into that because it looks pretty seamless.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that, it moves naturally for being something so fucking elaborate. So like they did a phenomenal job de- designing and creating exactly what this thing is, because when you do see it, it is very intimidating, very breathtaking, and it's horrifying because you still, even seeing it clear dead on, you're still like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Well, yeah, he got because Luke goes outside finally to get out of the burning cottage, and we do see this thing in full glory. And it's hard to explain. It's like I said, it's like like a moose like thing, but it has antlers and arms coming out of everywhere. So he runs into the forest, and we do get like more liquor store hallucinations as he's running through the forest. Like now he's seeing that he's running through the liquor store. One last time before the creature grabs him and like slams him to the ground. And you think it's gonna kill him, but it actually just picks him up and like forces him to kneel.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked that moment where it just kept like smashing him down on the ground, being like kneel, kneel, submit, kneel.
Yeah, and then it gets up on its hind legs and just like starts.
That was so cool. That was, I mean, that's when you really saw this monster in all of its glory. When it got up onto its hind legs and went into that pose. Oh, that was so cool.
It forms like this almost like totem
Yes, 100%.
of like just all these different like animals and entities. Like there's so much going on within it, and it does look so grand and so powerful. Like when they say it's a god, they really make this thing feel like an entity that is just so much more powerful than anything else around it. And it does make it just very d- intimidating. I mean, like I can't think of a better word to just describe how this thing is, how imposing it is. When it's like towering over Luke, because it really is massive. There's a shot right before this, before he takes off running, where you finally see the thing walking around in front of the burning house, and you see how tall it
Mm-hmm.
stands beside this building, and like you do finally get an idea just for the scope of how big it is. And it's one of the best shots in the film, I've got to say, because he's holding the body by the head, like getting ready to mount it. And
Yep.
then Luke, like, what? I don't know why the fuck he does this, because I would have just snuck away.
Ran away,
He
yeah.
chooses to fucking fire the gun at it, draw all the attention. You think you're gonna fucking kill this thing? It's a god. This is a god. This is a god. Like, but so yeah. Then he takes off. He has the hallucinations, and it gets to this praying moment where the creature is basically demanding that he submit. And I mean, one thing about this film is it does a pretty phenomenal job of giving us not only this really like, again, human and emotional story arc for the character of Luke, the painful journey that he's going through, but everything that at this point that creature represents for him in this moment, and beating him down and demanding that he submit, and he fucking overcomes this thing and overpowers this thing. And the representation in this movie, it is very clear what this stands for, and very elegantly handled. And it's not just a horror movie at this point. It really is. It's a fable. It's a beautiful piece of folklore. It's so well crafted. And this final moment, like for that to be it, for this to be what he has to overcome, I love it. I love that he had this whole kind of submitting moment, and that he didn't back down. He picks up one of the axes from nearby and he fucking buries it into the side of this thing.
Yeah, and it's none too happy, but he is able to take off running, and he runs straight out of the forest finally into this giant field. The creature does follow, but we find out obviously that the creature cannot leave the woods. So it's just like standing at the edge of the field in the woods still, like growling at him, and then he starts just basically roaring and screaming back at it.
How did you guys feel about that?
Man, I really took it as him basically like to so many things. Like again, that creature represents so many
Sure.
things. That was his finally saying, you did not get the best of me. You didn't get
Sure.
me.
It was like that final moment of catharsis that we were looking for from the very beginning.
Yeah, where he's screaming in the face, literally screaming
Yeah.
in the face of evil, screaming in the face of what is standing against him and saying, I'm not backing down. I'm going to overcome this. Just like I'm going to overcome the guilt that I have and the demons I carry with me about what happened to
Sure.
my friend. I am going to overcome this. It's just going to be a fucking painful experience, you know?
Yeah, I felt like it was just a giant release of all of these built up emotions that he's had for the past 6 months, with the guilt that he's carried, that he's felt about Rob's death, and how everyone has sort of put the blame on him, that and his own personal feelings about it, that this was just his opportunity to just let it all out.
Yeah. Theoretically, I liked it. I liked that moment. I just didn't think he had a very good scream. I'm not.
Amp that volume. Turn up that
I just
volume.
didn't. I needed a more intense scream from him. But like theoretically, I really liked that moment.
Yeah, it was almost more like a roar, like he was roaring it back at it. I don't know, but it does lead to him just basically walking out of the field, and you can kind of sense in his body language. I did like this as he's walking away. You kind of get the sense of his body language of just like relief.
I'm thrilled that he survived, but like realistically speaking, what is he going to tell people when he when he gets to civilization? Like, what do you say? I'm sorry. 6 months ago, I went through a traumatic loss in which my best friend was brutally killed in front of me, and now 6 months later, or no, it's a year. Was it a year later? A year later, in memorial, whatever, in memorial of losing my friend, all of my friends have been massacred mysteriously. Like, this fucker, like, God love him, but he's going to jail. Like, there's no way he's going to be able to explain what just happened.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, is that one aspect of the book that they delve into a bit, or is it a similar ending where he just kind of like survives? It feels almost like an afterthought, you know?
Yeah, no, it's the book kind of ends the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get any like epilogue or anything like that to know what happened. But I'm assuming if you could find somebody to and find like authorities and bring them back to these woods, that they're going to find all these bodies like impaled in the trees.
I
Sure.
mean, well, a few
And he
things
can
with
be
that, Troy. First of all, I feel like this thing ain't stupid. I feel like this thing's been doing this for a while. So either it's going to know to hide its bodies somewhere, it's running around grabbing the bodies off the trees, or this thing does strike me as being powerful enough that it could kill whatever forces were brought against it. Like,
Also, it could probably just manipulate what they are actually seeing and not see the bodies, not see the townspeople, not you
this,
know what I
I
mean?
feel like this film would make for, only because I want to know so much more about like the mythology and what the fuck's going on with this thing. It would make for a great sequel. But again, with comparisons to The Descent, the only way I can see the sequel feasibly working is the exact same storyline as The Descent 2, which where like the cops are like, all of your friends are dead. That's mysterious. We're going back in that cave system. Like for this, it would have to be like, all of your friends are dead. That's mysterious. We're going back in that gigantic wooded area. So like I would like to see more of this though, because like the creature design is so standout. Like I definitely did not get tired of it by the end of the movie. Like they gave me just enough of it, without like making it feel like they were like, you know, sometimes they overshow the creature. Sometimes you see too much of the effect. It didn't feel that way with this. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. But overall, man, I mean, that's the ritual, and I gotta say, even with like the little bit of like the hiccups and pacing issues aside for like the tail end of it, it still is like, I think, a phenomenal creature feature. It's one of my
Yeah, it
favorites
really is.
of the last, like I said, 20 years. I think it's unique, it's original, it feels fresh, it feels emotional. It tells a really great story, and it offers a really great design for this monster. And there's great scares scattered throughout the way. Like, I really have very few complaints overall, and the acting is solid. Like, I mean, honestly, across the board, it's not getting tens the whole way, but at least it's getting 8 and 9s. You know?
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. Looks great. The sound design is stellar. Acting for the most parts, yeah, strong. My only complaint would be the pacing is a little off. The ending is quite rushed, and I feel like at least one of the four main characters should have been able to have a little bit more character development. Characterization was not the strongest, I don't think. I mean, they think they spent too much time with the Dom and Luke sort of drama, and not enough time really building the friendship of all four of them. But that's a minor complaint. But other than that, I mean, the film is pretty damn impressive, and certainly one of the better horror movies to come out in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, like, for this to be a Netflix offering, like I said, like, maybe I've just seen too many like overly glossy, overly CGI'd features on Netflix that I'm like, I kind of just don't give it the time of day anymore. Maybe I should, because like when I watched this, I was really impressed. And if this is the kind of cinema they're offering on there, I need to give it a second guess, because I really was pretty blown away by this as an overall feature. It's just a solid piece of cinema. And I think horror fans, and especially creature feature fans, should really treat themselves to this one, and let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, and again, give the novel a read if you want a little bit more insight, especially really about the mythology of the creature. I would strongly suggest reading the novel.
Yeah. So, Chris, I mean, you said going into this that this is a film that you had seen when trying to introduce yourself to horror and expose yourself to more horror. And since then, what kind of like niche genre are you falling into as a fan of horror in general? Are you a creature feature fan? Like, what do you tend to lean towards at this point?
I would say honestly, it's more so up this alley, like the ritual. Like I love, like I was telling you, anything like more folky, kind of going along with like parables or mythology. Anything with like witchy, spooky kind of stuff like that. I'm not huge into like demonic, you know, those like exorcist kind of stuff. I'm not as big into those.
Understandable, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely vibe with you on what you're saying and your like preferences, and I definitely like did not anticipate to like this as much. I'm happy they took that Nordic route too. I feel like it's something in the genre that's just not explored enough. You know, like it's not oversaturated. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but man, I mean, thank you for coming on and talking about this with us. One thing about this movie is it's really like defined by the location where it was filmed, and you said Romania. It's supposed to be like Sweden, but over either way, it's fucking stunning. Have you filmed out of the U.S. yet?
No. Oh, well, I filmed something in Toronto, but
Oh, Toronto. We love it. If you could film in one like random country or anything, like something like, this is completely based around the location
ooh,
where it filmed, where would you want to
I
be?
don't know. Ooh. So just recently, I watched like three different Indonesian horrors, and they were fucking spooky, man. I want to do something in like that jungly kind of area. It was dope.
My God. Well, I mean, the unpredictability of the jungle in general. Like, I hate snakes, I hate spiders, I hate
Yeah.
scorpions. I couldn't do it. You're stronger than I
It would just
am.
be so cool. I mean, the like three that I've watched recently were all really, really cool. So,
Which were the ones that you watched?
ooh, it was uh, Impedagore and the Queen of Black Magic and something else.
Chris, you're giving us all the titles we'll have to throw at you next time we have you on. I love how you're becoming
All
a seasoned
right.
horror fan. My goodness, I love it. But with you being in all these
I'm
horror
trying.
movies, you need to know all the lingo for when you start going to the
Well, that's the
conventions.
thing. I need to know what the hell I'm talking
Absolutely, because
about.
the gays have high expectations, don't they, Troy?
Oh God, the gays in their horror movies are.
The opinions, my God. But Chris, you've already got one really good one under your belt with Hideout, and again, I want to urge our listeners to check that out because Chris is getting rave reviews. He has more on the way. So make sure to like check out his IMDb, check out his social media, start following him. We had him hawk his goods earlier, but Chris, one more time for the listeners, let's make sure they get it. Give us those social media plugs and just give us a little fill in on where we can get Hideout one more time, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So like we said, Hideout, it came out early November. It's on basically any streaming platform that you have. We also have Airborne coming out in about a month. And then after that, we have the Sim Racer coming out. If you want to check me out on social media, my Instagram handle is C as in Chris, WOLFE, my last name, and then MAN, the number 4, C Wolfman 4.
Yes, Wolfman. We like it. Yeah, sexy. Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. I've really enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for discussing the ritual with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we go, Roger, do you want to let the listeners know what next week's episode is going to be? Do you remember?
Are we going with mine or are we going with yours?
My two have been done this month.
Oh my god!
So
because we moved it.
Yeah,
we had
to move them. We just switched weeks around. So my two picks were done already. P2 and Motel Massacre.
Oh my god, that completely threw me off. I totally
I wasn't going to ask you because I was like, oh, he might have forgot.
Oh my god. Well, you're going to simply have to edit this so I can remember. What did I say it was going to be?
It's the Prowler.
Oh my god, it's the Prowler! Oh, I've been talking about it for weeks. You know what? Here's what got me confused. So when you were talking about Indonesian horror, I started thinking about like, oh, Indonesian horror. Like, that's so elaborate. So in my head, I was like thinking through all these titles. I was like, what have I seen that's Indonesian? Which I don't think is any. But then I completely like that. Like my mind is racing on those titles. I started thinking about that movie Baskin. Has anyone seen that movie Baskin?
Oh, I love Baskin's cool. Yeah,
we're talking about it.
No,
see it. It's like I can't even remember. I think it's like Arabic or it's Middle Eastern
like
or
Iranian or something.
Yeah, I think it's Iranian. Yeah. Oh my! It fucking scares the living shit out of me. That's on the list. But not next week. Next week it is the Prowler. You're right, Troy. I wanted to go with something traditional because the ritual is so like fresh and modern. It's CGI and it's got a glossy budget. And I was like, you know what, Troy, you're always picking like the classic 80s like go-tos that everybody knows. I'm going to step in on your territory. I'm going to stomp my high heel down and I'm going to say, it's my turn. I'm claiming the Prowler. So that's it. Yeah, next week we're doing the Prowler. That's gonna be a good one.
The Prowler will be a good one. The special effects, Tom Savini effects in that one are some of the best out of the 80s for sure. Oh, and Baskin is from Turkey.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
My
right
God.
You don't get a lot of horror movies from Turkey, but this one is balls to the wall crazy.
Oh yeah,
it looks.
It's
crazy.
Like they don't play with kids' gloves. Okay, like
no,
they're diving right into like mind fuck violent horror. It's
violent,
crazy,
disturbing imagery. Just check it out. Yeah, we definitely should do that.
Oh, it's seriously on my list, but I pushed it back.
Oh, and I wanted to let the listeners know because last episode we said I was going to let the listeners pick what I was going to do for our second Patreon episode of the month.
Yes,
and I got unanimous suggestions. So my second Patreon pick, we still have to record our first one, which is your decoys, right?
Oh, decoys, yes.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. That'll be coming out soon, as well as our mini episode. But I'm going to pick Lisa.
Oh my goodness, Lisa! How mysterious!
Cheryl Ladd, and Stacy Keenan.
An all-star cast.
I feel another calendar shoot coming on, Roger.
Oh my God, Trey! The Wardrobe alone, I can't wait.
It's on Tubi, guys. So check it out. It's a thriller. You guys remember Lisa? It's from like '90. It's the girl's making prank phone calls, and they actually call a psychopath, and he becomes obsessed.
Yeah. I love how confidently you're like, you guys remember Lisa.
Oh, everyone remembers Lisa.
But yeah, I do remember Lisa, and I like you mentioned it, and it took me a moment, and then I recalled it, and I was like, oh, it's been a hot minute since I think the last time I saw this, I was like maybe like I don't know 12. It's the perfect title for a Patreon review.
For sure, absolutely,
it'll be a fun one. But yeah, guys, so. Again, let's go through this. Next up, we have Prowler on Patreon. We've got Decoys dropping. We also have the best second entries in a series or trilogy. So the number 2 entry for 2022. That's going to be our mini episode. And now we've got Lisa. Like, it's a fully stacked month over at our Patreon, so make sure to sign up. Make sure to go leave us some love and reviews over on our Apple Podcast. You can leave them on Amazon too, we learned.
And Spotify. You can't leave a review on Spotify, but you can rate us. So everything helps. Everything helps, guys. But we appreciate you for listening. We appreciate Chris for taking time out of his busy evening to discuss The Ritual.
My pleasure.
So until next time, when we're going to be doing some prowling.
Oh my God, Troy, you're so sensual. Have a lovely evening.
Good night.
Good night.